Hello everyone, it is 12 o'clock, so we will start our new webinar. So today we're going to be discussing a investment opportunity, and that is Williams Corporation Capital Partnership, LP. So I'm very excited to present this to you today with my co-host Richard Carr. Now, every great presentation needs to start with a legal disclaimer, and the legal disclaimer for today's presentation is there's the full legal disclaimer, which we encourage you to read. If you're watching this as a recording, you can pause it and read the legal disclaimer that was provided by the legal team. The bullet points are, we're not financial advisors. This presentation does not contribute to individual financial advice. We do everything we can to make sure what we present to you is true and is accurate, but please make sure you do your own research and seek your own advice before making an investment decision. We are going to do a Q&A, so make sure that you ask questions. There's a chat box in the bottom right of the screen. So as we're going through the presentation, if something's not clear or you want to ask questions, please message them in that chat box, and we'll do a really good Q&A session at the end of this presentation. So today's agenda, we're going to have an introduction to the speaker, which is currently myself. We're going to discuss who is Williams Corporation, the developer that uses these funds. We're going to have an introduction to Richard Carr, our funds manager, and he's going to do an introduction to Williams Corporation Capital Partnership, followed by a Q&A session. So it'll be about 35 minutes, and we're going to make sure we provide you lots of value. So an introduction to me. Now, I need to start with, I'm fighting the tail end of a cold. So you've only got me at 80% today, but I'm going to give it my 120% so you don't notice. So my name is Matthew Horncastle. I'm one of Williams Corporation's managing directors. I'm from a property family, so everyone in my family is in construction, mother, father, aunties, uncles, granddad, the whole shabam. So it was in my blood. I'm a qualified builder, so I've served my time in this industry from the ground up. I've owned a business since 2011. I'm a thought leader in the New Zealand business space. I live in and invest in Williams Corporation properties. And my largest claim to fame is I'm the co-founder of Williams Corporation, which is one of the largest privately owned residential builders in New Zealand. So there's my resume. So let's now talk a little bit about Williams Corporation. So who is Williams Corporation? Williams Corporation is a residential property developer. We build homes that are affordable to buy, affordable to live in, affordable to maintain, where you can live, work and play. The original company that founded Williams Corporation was founded in the 6th of June 2011. So we've been trading for over 12 years. And our current goal as a business is to build 500 houses a year in New Zealand with excellence across our offices in Christchurch, Wellington and Auckland. And we're also finishing a development in Tauranga. So a little bit of our history. Last year, we delivered 503 houses to our customers, valued at $373 million. So in the year before, we had very, very similar deliveries to customers. In our career, we have delivered over 1,865 houses with sales volumes and delivery volumes exceeding $1 billion. So we're a very big company with a very long track record of success. Now, the average Williams Corporation development is a block of townhouses, which is, say, approximately 15 dwellings. And this is a little bit about our average timeframes that we achieve as a business. So our average time to achieve our consents, so that's resource consent, building consent, subdivision consent, any connections or services that are required, any environmental approvals or anything like that, takes us 7 months. Our average time for construction is 8.7 months. And so our average total development timeframe is 15.7 months. Now, for the first 3 months of a development, we normally do not release it to the public. So essentially, that's when we're achieving our resource consent, we're preparing the development for sale. And that's where you'll hear Williams Corporation talk about our 12-month turnaround. So our 12-month turnaround is essentially from when the development's released to the public and our first customers are purchasing to when the keys are given to the customers. We aim for that 12-month window. And we're very, very successful at achieving it as per our averages. A little bit of history about our funds, and Richard's going to get deeper into this, but we've got some big numbers we want to discuss. So we have raised and managed over $271 million, which is an absolutely amazing figure. We've redeemed over $148 million. So that shows our first financial instrument was opened 4 years ago. So that just shows the liquidity that we have provided to our investors. We've paid over $39.5 million of dividends to our investors since inception of our fund, and we currently have 4 open funds. One of the things that makes Williams Corporation special is we are in business to be in business. Like, we truly love coming to work every day. This company is very special to me, and this industry is very special to me, and what we do is very special. We don't do this to exit. We do this so we can keep doing it. And so Williams Corporation has a 100-year plan, and that's essentially so we can pass this company from current management to future management. And it's essentially our principles that we operate within to keep the company strong. So firstly, we'll go through these in a few bullet points. So starting with demand, world's population's 8 billion people. It's forecast to grow to 11 billion over the next 100 years. So there's a huge amount of residential property that needs to be created to meet the demands of our growing world. We focus on a product that's affordable to buy, affordable to live, and affordable to maintain, where you can live, work, and play. We are quite unique as a property developer. So 50% of our funds that we use for construction are managed in our funds. We have a goal to lift that to 100%. We would love to self-fund, and that's why we're doing webinars and talking to investors like you today. But because we control our own funds and instruments like Williams Corporation Capital and Williams Corporation Capital Partnership, this has allowed us to navigate the needs of our customers, selling these properties, the needs of our delivery team and finance, and it's allowed us to trade through some very interesting times extremely strongly. And when I say interesting times, I talk about, say, COVID, where we dealt with very large property inflation and delays where it was difficult to build property, such as lockdowns. And then when we talk about the most recent period where New Zealand property values declined 15% over 18 months, and they've just started rising a couple of percent. Our funds, the fact that we manage our own funds, has allowed us to trade really strongly through these times. Design and specification, we sell a product that we can build. And we sell a product that we make better each iteration of that product. So when you go through a Williams Corporation house, you'll notice it's very well thought out. You'll notice it's very functional. But also we have a specification that reduces our maintenance risk, allows us to build it in our industry-leading timeframes, and contributes to our overall success. So things are designed in-house, and we work closely with senior management and closely with our delivery team and closely with our maintenance team to make sure that we're building the best possible house for the customer and the best possible house for the company to reduce maintenance risk. Our people, you need great people. Your business is just a sum of your people, and I'm really proud of the people we have, the culture. We have really, really high quality lateral thinkers. We've got exceptional work ethic. Our people here at Williams Corporation are really special. Talking about continuous improvement, we always talk internally about getting 1% better every day, and that's a culture of everything can be done better. We always look at what we've done, we look at what we can do, we look at what we're doing, and we focus on how we can do that better. And then we support, as far as politics, we support free markets, we support property rights, obviously, because we're selling houses, and we support freedom of speech. So we're very politically aligned with what we believe we are with our customers. So why do people buy houses from us? If you look at the New Zealand construction industry as a whole, and you look at Williams Corporation, although we've been here for 12 years, we are relatively a new company compared to the housing companies before us. So how did a relatively new company come in and take such a large market dominance from rather strong existing players? And it's hard to summarize a business success into a few bullet points, but this is why we believe our product sells so well. So why do people buy homes from us? Our homes are low maintenance, exceptionally well built. They're well located. We do not have price escalation clauses. They're turnkey, ready to move in. We have fair sunset dates that protect the customer. We make the process easy, and we have generous floor plan sizes when compared to other townhouses. And let's have a look at how these houses look. This is our Mahua Lane development. You can see we do things properly. Beautiful looking houses. We do all the exterior enhancements, all the landscaping packages. I love this image because it shows the high quality, low maintenance claddings. This is a brick and a tray cladding. And you can see that this is going to look great into the future, and it's going to have very little maintenance for the customer. Beautiful interiors, really functional. So in a Williams Corporation townhouse, we provide the fridge, microwave, dish drawer, oven, cooktop, and washer dryer combo as standard. So we're really making it easy for the customer. So summary of Williams Corporation, we're an honest company. We've been in business in New Zealand for 12 years. We're one of the largest builders in New Zealand. Our homes are attractive to owner-occupiers because of the quality and the location, and our homes are attractive to investors because of the quality and the return. We build homes that are affordable to buy, affordable to live in, affordable to maintain, where you can live, work, and play. Now, handing over to Richard, our funds manager, to present to you Williams Corporation Capital Partnership. Richard, over to you.
Thank you, Matthew. Very excited to be here today with everyone and presenting the partnership. As Matthew said, it's really important to get to know your speaker. My name's Richard Carr. I am the fund manager with Williams Corporation. I'm very proud to have that role and that responsibility to all of our investors and all our clients. In terms of my background, I worked for a decade in commercial real estate and economic development, and I'm a graduate of economics, and I absolutely love the numbers. I love the details. I love getting in amongst it with our clients, our investors, our colleagues, and even sometimes our competitors, and just talking about how the market's performing, how things are going, and really giving them the information that they need to make their own decisions. So at the heart of it, I do believe in Williams Corporation funds as a great investment option. I believe that they're really well structured, really well built. And so I'm really proud to present today on the partnership. In terms of the overall fund management, it was a revolutionary product and still is in the New Zealand market. We've raised wholesale capital from wholesale investors in New Zealand to enable us to have a secure pipeline to continue to address the ongoing shortage of housing in New Zealand. It's a fantastic product that gives a really high level of security, a great return to the investors, while at the same time helping solve this huge issue that's been discussed by governments and governments and governments for decades and decades. And what it took was the private market getting in, getting involved with like-minded individuals, raising capital, delivering product to customers who love it. The four funds that we have are Williams Corporation Capital, which is our flagship fund, Williams Corporation First Mortgage Investments, Williams Corporation Capital Partnership, which we'll be discussing in a little bit more detail, and then Williams Corporation Completed Homes, which is our latest launch of a fund. The Williams Corporation Capital Partnership LP, the LP standing for Limited Partner, is a unit partnership by which investors are returned units in this partnership and are entitled to dividends and distributions in accordance with that. It's a fantastic structure which allows not only a great level of security, really clear operating governance and guidelines, but it also provides a level of confidentiality compared to our other funds which are listed on the Companies Office. That confidentiality is really important for some of our wholesale investors who wish to keep their affairs private. And so the partnership really does cater to a slightly different investor who has slightly different priorities. The distribution is still 10% gross return annually, and it is paid out quarterly. Now, this offer, as with all our other wholesale investment funds, is only open to wholesale investors, including eligible investors who do not otherwise qualify, who do not otherwise require disclosure under Part 3 of the FMCA. The important guidance here is, as Matthew said, we're not financial advisors. These funds are an offer to wholesale investors only and are not suitable for retail investors. We're here to provide you with that information. We encourage you to seek out independent advice from financial advisors, your accountants, a lawyer. We encourage you to ask questions to us, and we're very transparent with our investors and our potential clients around what the business is doing, how it's delivering these homes in the market, and how your investment or your capital gets utilized to deliver these homes. So please ask questions. One of the best ways that we communicate with our investors is every month I go through a very, very detailed process going through every part of the business with Matthew and Blair, the two directors, to assess Williams Corporation, assess the performance over the past month and how we've done. I summarize that in an investor update that we send out to everybody every month. This gives you a really good insight into what Williams Corporation is doing, how we're performing, how we're trading, and some of those strategic advantages that we're realizing in the market relative to others. It's a really great experience for me to be able to build this story and share it with you. And then investors come back and they say, hey, I've got a few questions. What was the sales performance? What kind of cities we're delivering? What are you hearing from customers on the ground? A lot of our investors are genuinely interested in property, are invested in the product, not just in the return. And they do want to hear how we're solving this housing shortage, how we're solving problems for our customers, and how we're providing them a great return at the same time. The LP structure, just a few key details here that we've listed out, is the fund is a unit in a unit partnership, and that is different from our other equity preference shares. The outcome has a few legal differences, and so we do recommend that we get it reviewed by your lawyers when you're signing up the subscription documentation. As a unit partnership and as a limited partner, it's governed by the overall general partner in accordance with the agreement. Now, the LP is a slightly special fund because the LP effectively invests in the other funds. In this case, the current investment policy aligns to the Williams Corporation Capital product. And so it pulls the LP, the GP invests on their behalf into Williams Corporation Capital, receives those shares, is listed as the single largest shareholder of Williams Corporation Capital, and that's discoverable online on the company's office. And what it does is it really provides, as we said, that level of confidentiality for investors who want the same great security, the same great return as Williams Corporation Capital, but don't want to be involved in having their name listed out as a bespoke kind of piece of information. In terms of the minimum investment term we've got is similar to our other funds. It is a 12-month minimum term with a notice period of 6 months, which may be extended to 12 months depending on the level of withdrawals in any given time frame. As with any investment, there are always risk factors, and we look to address those proactively, as Matthew said, and by doing so, we can alleviate some of the risks, but as with any investment, some of those risks fall out of the company's control and cannot be mitigated. However, it's really important that for our investors, we can front foot with full transparency what we're doing, what we see in the market, and how we're overcoming those. We want to be the most transparent organization that you've ever dealt with. We want to give you the information up front. We want you to believe in us and in our product and what we're doing. And we know that the investors that we've got do believe us. They do trust us with their money, their hard-earned money. And so we just want more people who believe in that vision. And again, it's something that we believe sets us apart as part of that 100-year plan around radical transparency for our investors, for our clients, for our colleagues, and as I said, sometimes even for our competitors. Now, who can invest in Williams Corporation Capital Partnership? Eligible investors and wholesale investors. Now, a wholesale investor is a very specific term, and the partnership is only available to wholesale investors, which can include eligible investors. Now, I don't want to get drawn into a long legal discussion around will they, won't they, is it, isn't it? I want to be as clear as I can. This offer is for wholesale investment only, is not suitable for retail investors. Now, one of the ways in which an investor can qualify for the fund is by being an eligible investor. Now, that is a certification called an eligible investment certificate, by which they review the merits of the offer. They have a discussion with a financial advisor, a lawyer, or an accountant, which discusses the offer, the merits of that offer, their understanding of that offer, and then really being able to process whether they have the adequate information provided to them, the experience required to invest, and other such key matters. Now, we want to support people going through that exercise if they are qualified as wholesale investors otherwise. And so we do our best to inform any investor who's a wholesale qualifying investor of this process. We support them in their application, and we say, this is the kind of thing that you need to go do. You need to go have a private conversation with a financial advisor. You need to discuss the offer. And if they find you and deem you suitable, we'll assess the merits of that investor specifically. Now, further to that is, in order to invest now, is we are open today for wholesale investors. It's not a closed-end fund. We constantly raise new capital. We're constantly redeeming capital, as Matthew said. And so this opportunity is available today to wholesale investors and is not available to retail investors. Now, your partnership and your investment with us would be funding a reputable group with solid management, a very clear vision, and delivering one of the key requirements of our society over the next decade. We need more houses in New Zealand. We know this is a problem, and we have a solution for that. Now, we recommend that all the material that we discuss, all the material we disclose, is always discussed as widely as possible with your panel of advisors, whether it's a lawyer, an accountant, family members, an uncle who once invested, and so on. We absolutely support that, and we want to give that information freely. To progress an application, please just discuss with your preferred Williams Corporation client consultant or with me directly. My number will be at the end of this presentation. And I do want you to reach out. I do want you to ask questions, and I do want you to be involved in that process as proactively as you can. And as much as you want to discuss with us, I'm always happy to talk with investors.
So jumping in, just sort of my summary of the product. So you have Williams Corporation. We are a very reputable developer. We've been in business for a long time. We're very good at what we do. We have our 4 different financial instruments. So we have Williams Corporation Capital, Williams Corporation Capital Partnership, Williams Corporation First Mortgage Investments, and Williams Corporation Completed Homes. Now, these products essentially target different investors. I really do love and believe in Williams Corporation Capital, and that is our largest fund. It's a fantastic instrument, and I believe that its success speaks, well, the success of the product speaks for itself. Where I see Williams Corporation Capital Partnership is, if you're an investor but you want a wholesale investor and you wish to invest with that you want to invest without being listed on the Companies Office anonymity, this is a fantastic option for you, and we also can take some eligible investors, as Richard discussed. So this is a fantastic product. As Richard said, it's an open fund, so we're actively raising capital now, and we would love to self-fund Williams Corporation, build 500 houses a year with excellence, with just us and our investors and our clients. So that would be a fantastic closed loop that we'd love to create, and that's why we're here today raising capital. So, Richard, we always get some questions. Should you and I jump through these?
Yeah, I've got a little list here that have come through, and this is actually related to a conversation I was having yesterday with an investor who's in the session, who asked me specifically. They said, I understand that it's a confidential LP. How many people are in the LP today, and how much money has it raised? And I told him, I said, every month we tell you exactly how much funds have been raised, which is around $20 million at the moment within the LP itself. Now, the number that isn't disclosed anywhere, and we're more than happy to share, is how many investors do we have. Today, right this second, we have 109 people who've absolutely committed to this partnership, who've joined in, and these are the current investors. Over time, we've probably brought in around 300 investors into this program. And so again, it represents that there are 100 like-minded individuals who are currently investing with us, who are currently backing this product, who see the value in it and love what we're doing. So That's just a little bit of, that was a question I got. I thought it was a really
Can I ask you a question leading on from that?
Sure can.
How many active investors do we have today, and what's our total funds under management across our 4 funds today?
Across all our funds, the funds under management is about 125 million.
Yeah.
And we're sitting at just under 300 active investors. And so that's, as at today of the 3rd of November, those are our figures that we're working with. We see that number go up and down, as you said, on average, about $30 million worth of redemptions, $30 million of new subscriptions each year that come into the fund. And that can be balanced across investors who are investing $200,000 all the way up to investors who are in the fund at $4 or $5 or $6 million. So it really depends on the configuration of who's investing, what they see, and the returns and the opportunity that they've got in the market.
And we also do have some investors who, because you're allowed unlimited withdrawal for deposit or settlement of a Williams Corporation house. So we have a customer that might be, say, buying a $1.2 million house that they intend to pay for with cash. They pay their 10% deposit, and then they put the balance or a large amount into the fund, and they essentially become their own development funder from purchase till settlement. So
absolutely.
It's about a third of our redemptions, roughly.
It's a little bit less at the moment, but it's a fantastic kind of story. And you're right, is when we take on an investor's fund, we're building a house. We're not doing anything else complicated. We're not doing anything magic. We pour a slab, we put up the frames, we put on a roof, we install a kitchen, we hand over the keys. For some investors, like you've said, is they have the cash today to buy that house. They can be their own property developer in the sense, and they get a return along the way. Is they're getting that distribution, they're getting their 10% per year. We hand over the keys, they hand over the settlement, and then typically, as you know, is they'll then refinance with the bank. They then invest in the fund again. They then buy the next house 2 or 3 years later. We see a really good return of customers and clients to the Williams Corporation platform, whether that's in home purchase or whether that's in fund investment. We see a really harmonious relationship between the two.
Yeah, no, that's exceptional. You nailed it. All right, questions.
Next question was, does the LP invest in any other funds or other things? And the answer to that is no. At this time, the stated strategy of the LP is to invest in Williams Corporation Capital. And that's because it is the largest fund. It is the flagship fund, which has the largest security pool. And so we feel that it's the most appropriate place for the LP to be purchasing or investing in Class A shares.
I think you should, I see, and I can say this as the director of the company, I see no reason why that would change in the near future. But do you just want to explain the technicality of, because this is its own entity and it can invest in Williams Corporation funds. Do you want to explain the technicality of sort of what funds we can invest in and what the nuances of that?
Very simply, the LP is designed to invest in Williams Corporation funds or advance direct funding to a small project. So the way in which it was structured is effectively what I'd refer to as a sidecar. And that sidecar enables investment. It gets the return in Williams Corporation Capital at the moment. However, as you said, I don't see any reason for that to change in the near future. I haven't seen any evidence that says we can do something more creative or different. Is it absolutely as simple as it sounds? Is it invest in that, it gets the return. Now with the LP, it is a special entity, it is a partnership, it's confidential, it's not listed up on the Companies Office, and for those reasons why it's referred to as a sidecar rather than a standalone entity.
So really an investor should be reading the Williams Corporation Capital Partnership documentation along with the Williams Corporation Capital documentation, because their primary investment is in Williams Corporation Capital, but they may just choose, like you say, you're using your terminology, the sidecar of Williams Corporation Capital Partnership for their own specific reasons. Correct.
And again, part of our monthly investor update that we send to all capital partners includes the monthly update that we send to Williams Corporation Capital direct investors. We absolutely agree with you that materially, they're investing in Williams Corporation as a group, first and foremost. They're investing in delivering houses to New Zealanders, and they're doing that by investing in Williams Corporation capital through that LP sidecar.
Yeah.
So it's a really comprehensive story. It's really clear in the legal documentation. And again, I'm always here to answer any question around that performance, around that structure, and what those nuances might be.
Yeah, fantastic. Questions, one or two more?
One or two more. The only one I've got is, can you enter the LP as a group of friends, as a trust, as a company, or as an individual? And what are the rules around whether you need to be a one person or not?
Do you want me to answer that?
You go for it.
Yeah, so if your group of people becomes a eligible or wholesale investor, probably I want to focus more on wholesale investor. So yes, two people, Richard, I need you to fact check me after the statement. Two people together that otherwise weren't a wholesale investor can become a wholesale investor together. So two people that have, say, 400,000 that made a company together that then has 800,000 could invest as a wholesale investor. But we recommend you seek your own financial advice, your own accounting advice, your own legal advice before making that decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are ways in which two or three people can structure their finances in a way. We don't give that information, we don't give that advice. It's not our space nor place. We recommend you discuss with a financial advisor or a lawyer for those matters. But I can say from our experience, we have had investors who have done that in the past.
And like a very simple one being like a husband and wife, where like together they don't have $5 million. Separately, they've got $2.5 million each, but together they've got $5 million, and they are absolutely an entity that can invest and make decisions together. And then
correct. And the guidance of that is every investor gets reviewed.
Yeah.
So when we go through the application process with an investor, there's a discussion, there's information exchange, there's ongoing discussion with all their advisors to make them feel comfortable. And I think we're going to get into this after this slide, which is the process by which we invest is fundamentally, we want people to be really comfortable with the process. And so we've got a no obligation process around signing the subscription documents, getting that advice, reviewing the information. And part of that review isn't only for the investor, it's actually for the LP as well as Williams Corporation, where we have to review who is this investor, what are they doing, are they qualified? Yes, they are. Let's process this application. At that point at which both parties have accepted all of the application details, then we issue a deposit slip, and that deposit slip is the final acceptance of that offer. If you decide you don't want to invest at any point up until submitting a deposit slip and transferring funds, no obligations, no problems. We're still friends. We still want to discuss housing. We still want to discuss investment with us. We have no qualms around going through that process with investors if then they decide they do not wish to invest.
Yeah, and I'll just, you've said that perfectly, but I just want to say it again. The reason we did it that way is if you're in a Williams Corporation office and you think that this might be a great option for you, we can sit down with you and do the paperwork and tidy that up together. And then it's not a legally binding transaction until you transfer the funds. So if something happens between doing the paperwork and transferring the funds and you don't wish to invest, we literally just throw the paperwork in the bin. And what that does is it removes the stress of the paperwork being the decision, and the paperwork is nuance. And the decision is when you transfer the funds. That's when it becomes legally binding.
Yeah, one of your
great
stories, Matthew, is we want you to go home, we want you to have a cup of tea, and we want you to think about it. And then sitting on the couch, then transferring the funds when you're comfortable, rather than doing it necessarily in our office, rather than doing it at the time. We want people to take their time, think about it, because at the heart of it, Williams Corporation Capital Funds and Williams Corporation is an entity by which we want to build relationships. We want to have an ongoing service provision to everyone we deal with. We want to add value at every step. And so we don't want anyone to feel any of that pressure. We want everyone to be in with us, solving these problems and building houses for New Zealand.
So that's fantastic. I think we've nailed it. Let's wrap it up there. So Richard's details are there. You're welcome to talk to Richard or a client consultant. And thank you very much for joining our presentation. All right, see ya.